What tips or what suggestions would you have for somebody? Because I think we also hear the reverse of it's like, yo, I'm just tired at the end of the day. And it's like, I've gotten through work, I've dealt with all my kids. Now it's time for me. And I don't have anything left in the cup for me. Right. So, how would is that having conversations with your partner or your significant other to like figure out a time that they're able to watch them? Like what strategies? Because I think for a lot of people, it's like, could you spend money? Like, is that a time that you can have somebody come in and watch the kiddo, even if it's for, 60 minutes, 90 minutes? But yeah, any thoughts or advice there?
I think if you're programming for yourself, programming something that you like doing, let's say your workout has one thing in there that you really enjoy. For me, that works really well because I've been injured. I've had to kind of program for myself because it's just easier than modifying everything. So I'll make sure that I program something that makes me feel good about myself or works on an area that I want to feel like I worked out. If you're following a program, though, I think that can be helpful because it's just plug and play. You just do what you're told. But I definitely think if you're in a relationship, talking to your spouse and having some real conversations about how it can help not only you, but your marriage, and prioritizing that. We had a podcast with a mom the other day with 3 kids working full time at a very important job, and she blocks it into her schedule. It is whether it's a 25-minute, if walking is the exercise you can get in that day, great. It's better than nothing. And there's actually pretty incredible research on the benefits of walking. So it doesn't always have to be an hour and a half long. Getting something in and making sure that you block it is huge.
Laura, you said a lot of good things too, like talking to your partner, maybe joining a gym with childcare. If you go to a CrossFit gym, finding one that has a kids' room, finding another mom and being like, hey, if you go to the gym at 9 a.m., you can drop your kids off at my house, and just kind of having that flip flop because you both understand that you need it but you both have your kids. So like if you can help each other out there, I think that's a huge way to get around the money problem. And then also you have someone you're accountable to. It's like, I've been watching her kids for the hour. Now it's my turn to go and she's going to ask me how my workout was. So I better get it done. You know what I mean? I think that can be super beneficial, like relying on those relationships and making them mutually beneficial.
Having a community and support team of people to lean on and just, having being okay, like being brave, right? To reach out to a friend and just be like, hey, I'm really struggling to just work out and be motivated. Like, could we work out together? So again, I have somebody to be accountable to. I also just have somebody to talk to when life's hard and I don't want to do it. I think that again, it's like there's just such power in numbers. So I love that idea of having the support. And that's the hardest part is like you have to ask for it. People aren't just gonna, offer that. It's like you have to be uncomfortable. And then, by being uncomfortable, you can then get the reward
Yeah.
that is, the support and community you want from people.
And the worst thing they can say is no. And then you say, okay, I'll ask someone else. But don't stop. Yeah, ask someone else until you find someone that it just works out with because it might not work for their schedule, whatever. And yeah, just try and find someone that you can, have that support with.
Do you guys have a group like Facebook group or support groups and things like that for moms for your programs?
Yeah, we have a Mint Mamas Facebook group.
And do people like connect in there and they just like help keep each other like accountable and all that kind of stuff?
It's interesting because people connect better online now, I feel like, than they do in person sometimes. So it is good in that respect, but I still think that it's kind of a thing of the past to have mom groups where we trade off kids. I remember my mom did it all the time. They would like, this mom has all the kids. And so I still think, although the online groups are helpful, especially if you're going through the same program or something, getting in the real world interactions are a thing of the past that need to be revived.
If you could go back in time, is there anything that either you wish you would have known, or is there something you would have done like dramatically different, whether that's during pregnancy or postpartum?
I did not research birth at all. I had zero birth plan because I like to be in control of everything in my life. And so I thought that, okay, doctor, you're in control. You do you. Just keep me alive, keep the baby alive. Like, birth is going to suck no matter what. So I don't want to know anything about it. Just take control. And while I did trust my doctor, and in the end, like, I didn't have any control over my birth, I still feel like I wish I had known some of the options or what I was getting into, because the emotional side of having to deal with, oh my gosh, I'd never considered that this could happen, was harder than losing control. So I think researching and getting information so that you're mentally and emotionally prepared for anything that could happen is something I would have done different.
I think biggest thing for me is because like I really wanted to have just like natural births with all of my kids, and I haven't gotten to do that. And I think just especially with my first, being a little bit more forgiving with myself afterwards, because like, it wasn't necessarily my fault. I did everything that I could to try and avoid the situation that I got into. It was like really hard for a long time for me because like my mom gave birth naturally to all of her kids, all my aunties, most of my cousins have their kids at home. It was really hard for me. Like I felt like, what's wrong with me? Like what's wrong with my body? Maybe it just had reached out to someone who had also had a C-section, or instead of like continually bogging myself down with like, why couldn't I do it when everyone in my close community or circle has been able to do this? Like, if you have a different experience than what you want, trying to find, like we talked about before, someone who can support you in that and just be like, that's what happened, but you're fine, your baby's fine. So yeah, just maybe finding that support when things maybe aren't going the way that you wanted them to.